There really is no bad real estate. There's only bad deals, okay? You can make a bad deal on the most beautiful property in the world. Don't make a bad deal. Make a good deal. You can buy some crap land that won't even be developed for 100 years. And guess what? You can buy it under market and you can resell it and make a profit. Doesn't matter. Tumbleweeds out in the middle of the desert, out in Lancaster, Palmdale, Joshua Tree, Pear Blossom. Made money on all that kind of property out there. Now, these are on the outskirts of Los Angeles. There's money everywhere to be made. You just got to be careful that you don't pay too much. So I'm reminded today you have to be there first, and when you can't be there first, you got to be there second, and when you're second, you got to be standing in the shadows waiting for who's number one to make a mistake so you can jump in and take the deal back away. So I've got that exact thing. I mean, that's kind of something that regularly happens for me anyways, but there's different things that come up that'll set it up where it's so important to be, even if you're number two, to be just waiting in the wings to jump on the next deal. So I've got a property that what happened was they put the property up at too high a price. It's a commercial property, and I'm intending to buy it. Hey, Double G, glad you're here. So anyways, this is one I've been playing with for a couple months, and what happened was I was starting to get close, and this will happen. Some spoiler will come along. They were asking too much for the property, and sometimes when somebody's asking too much for a property, it's the best thing in the world that can happen, and I'll tell you why. When somebody asks too much for a property, the property doesn't sell. So it just sits there, and people don't buy it, don't buy it, don't buy it. It starts to wear the seller down, and a lot of times they'll hang on longer than they really can stand to persist. And what'll happen is they'll start to lower the price, but sometimes not fast enough. But every once in a while, a spoiler will come along, and when I'm talking about a spoiler, I'm talking about somebody that comes along and offers them close to what they're asking, and it's too much. I don't even mean that it's full retail. Full retail is too much to me, but they'll offer more than more than it's really worth. And so what happens is, in their mind, it qualifies that they're asking the right amount. And believe me, I bought a lot of property from people from the basically probate sales, deaths, and all kinds of stuff. And sometimes there's 8 relatives, and so they go, oh, 8 relatives, $800,000, and it's got nothing to do with the value of the property. So, but anyhow, in this particular deal, I was kind of getting close. I felt like I was wearing the sellers down to maybe get into my, and then somebody comes along and boom, offers them full price for it. And of course, they had a long escrow, and so of course, I told them, I said, it's never going to happen. They're not going to buy it. They offered too much. This is me talking to the agents. And the agents were kind of a couple of dodos anyways, to be honest. And so, anyways, what happened is they wasted about 70 days' time, and now the property just came back on the market. Well, I'd say about 3 weeks ago, actually. And so I came in and gave them another offer. They would consider a low ball. I consider a deal that makes sense to me. It's a little under market, of course. I'm not going to buy anything I can't buy under market. Anyways, so they've been stewing on it, and then I think somebody else came along and wasted another 30 days of their time. Well, I just got notice back. They're worn out. Deal's fallen out twice, and they lowered their asking price. Now they lowered their asking price a good $100,000. Still not in the range that I want. But we're getting closer. We're getting close. And so I basically, I actually had somebody else make an offer on them to them. And I told them, look, you get this in contract, and I'll go ahead and buy you out, or I'll anyways, I have somebody else making an offer on it. Just because right now they feel like I'm the only one giving them any attention. So I told them, I told somebody else, look, you can get it under contract, you can assign it to me, and I'll give you a fee. So that's what's going on right now. But again, it's so important to persist. And I can tell you, a lot of times, like even, I just sold the property a while back for $430,000. It's a few houses back that I've shared with you. And even on that one, I had an agent that was bugging me to sell it for less. And he's saying, Tom, look at the comps, look at the comps. Well, again, like you'll find out, eventually you'll find out that nobody's smarter than you when it comes to your real estate. I know the property that I put up. I know I can get what I'm asking for it. And because there's maybe particulars about it that are special. It may be the lots are bigger. There might be certain things that are, if a lot of times agents will run comps on a property and they really don't take in consideration, maybe sometimes the view or maybe sometimes just the fact that your lot is sitting in a very, very, much better area comparatively to something that may even be just a quarter mile away. And it may have a sizable better yard, which, when you have smaller subdivisions and big lots, those are really key pieces of property, because what you'll find out with the bigger lots and a smaller subdivision, you have almost no traffic. You can stand in the street and you won't see a car go by, because there's only 10 or 15 houses on the whole street, because the lots are so big, there's just no traffic. And especially if there's two ways to get out at each end of the street, again, that's a big asset, because if you're in the middle of the block, that's almost like being in a cul-de-sac. A cul-de-sac is a beautiful thing. I've owned many properties, and one of my best homes that I've lived in, kind of like this, had a big old pool in the back, but this one's not in a cul-de-sac, but this is a good place. But another place I had, it was wonderful because it was a cul-de-sac, because there's nobody belonged in that cul-de-sac, so I wouldn't get any traffic. You could play in the streets, kids could play or whatever. It was safe. Well, that's kind of the effect when you have a long corridor and two exit ways out of a neighborhood, and if you live kind of in the middle of the block, there's really no reason for anybody to pass. Your neighbor, when they pull out, they go this way. Your other neighbor pulls out, and they go that way. And so it is good just to be in the middle for that reason alone. And you'll see that as you get into buying and selling real estate. So anyways, I just wanted to get a video out. I want people to know, don't give up, just persist. I was listening to a Warren Buffett video from 1985, very, very good stock investor, stock market guy. And I realized, one of the reasons I'm so successful, one reason he's so successful, is he invests in stock the same way I do in property. And this video he made, or interview he did back in 1985, he was talking about there's literally thousands of opportunities being pitched at you every day when you're in stocks. And these pitches are coming at you, but you have absolutely no reason to swing at any of them unless they're a great deal. And he's not a real high-tech guy. He likes, or he wasn't back then, he likes, like he bought Mauser Electronics, so he's a practical investor. He likes inventory and stock, and he likes the assets. He likes a business that's a good business. He doesn't follow patterns and waves and tries to go, oh, geez, it's going up and down back here. Oh, it's due to go up again. He's more practical. He bases it on what the damn property is worth, and that's how I am too. I go by what it's worth only. I don't take a swing at anything unless I know there's a profit to be made, and that's how you should be as an investor. Don't pay full price for anything. Only buy it if it's a great deal, okay? There's no reason to pay full price or even close to full price. And you may feel compelled to do it, and even one of the things Warren Buffett says is he invests, big funds where he's got other people's money. Well, the deal with him is, he says, yeah, he goes, you might sit still for 2 years and letting these pitches come at you. And he goes, and it can be tough for some people. He goes, because you've got people in the bleachers yelling at you, take a swing, take a swing, take a swing. And that's not the way to make a decision. And even, I get antsy. Sometimes I'm going, geez, I'm waiting for a deal. It's taking forever. And I start to, compromise. And the way I compromise is I'm waiting for a big deal on a commercial property, because that's what I've been mostly concentrating on the last several years. And what happens is I go, here's a hell of a deal on a house, I'll take it. And so I buy a house and I flip it and I make, maybe 50 to 100 grand on a house that costs a couple $100,000. But that's not really what I want. What I really want is I want to put 25% down on a $2 or $3 million deal and have about $500,000 to be made, but also have, on the day I buy it, but also have the income coming in from that. Now, don't get me wrong. I started with buying land. I started with buying a commercial property, my very first property when I was 19. But after that, I mean, I bought probably 100 different lots or more than 100 lots and flipped those and made $10,000 at a time. I created a big bunch of notes, and that's all in my book, which if you're just new to the channel, you know, or you don't know, I have a book. I have a book you can buy for $10 on Amazon. If you don't like it, you can send it back. But this is exactly how I made my first $1 million, and you can do it too. This is basically a course. You know, believe me, buy my book for $10 before you go spending $500 on a course, or 10 or 20 or $30,000 at a free seminar. A lot of those free seminars, they just try to bring you in so they can get you in the door, and then they hard sell you into ridiculous deals. If you've got $10,000, $20,000 cash, hang on to that money. That's your seed money. Very important. You hang on to that money. Don't give it to anyone. And back to those seminars, they try to get you to part with $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 with the idea that they're going to utilize their millions to help you when you find a deal. You don't need them. If you find a deal, you don't need anybody. You can find the money. The money will, you just tell somebody, hey, I got this great deal. They'll either want to buy you out of it, and I've got that in how to assign your deals, which is a very good way to make money, and or flip it, and or if you can close it and buy it yourself, just close it, buy it yourself, flip it, turn it. You'll get a little more for it when you have the power of buying it. But when you're assigning it and flipping it, you'll still make money, but you may have to take a little less just because you're a little hungrier, and you're not going to feel quite as strong if you don't have the money to close it. And don't let the fact that you might not be able to qualify for a deal, don't let that discourage you from looking at property that's out of your reach financially. Don't worry about it. The main thing is getting a deal. There's no difference between you and me. I have money, maybe you don't have money. It doesn't matter. The deal is the difference. You got to get the deal. If you got the deal, you'll find somebody like me that'll buy you out of it, pay you for an assignment fee, and close it without you. And generally that's, I've done that many times, but that's how I got turned on to assignments. Was somebody came to me, I said, hey, let's buy it together. And he said, hey, I don't want a partner. How about I just give you 20 grand? And I said, yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Anyways, so, what I really want to get at though is man, always stay persistent. It's so important. You can make a ton of money. You just have to watch. You just have to watch it. If you're standing in the shadows or standing, on the sidelines, if somebody's already got it in escrow, don't give up. Tell them you'll close it. You're ready to buy if they fail to close the deal, and just let the sellers know that you're waiting. And then if they fall out, boom, you'll be the first one they go to. And also that means all the other things I've told you in the videos. Always knock on doors, stop at every sign, call first, be the first one there. That's important. So let's look at a couple questions here. All right. AWG, glad you're here. Miguel, glad you're here. Okay, you were talking to the manager of apartment complex, and she told you that the owner is wanting to sell the apartments but wants to lease the empty apartments. Well, that's the whole purpose, right? Okay, it's a C class. How many units, Miguel? Well, waiting for Miguel. So look, I've made a lot of money in apartments. I actually bought property units for 50? Well, that's a nice number. That's great. Do you have an idea? Did she give you an indication of how much? And I'll tell you with apartments, I bought apartments for as little as $10,000 a unit and sold them for $55,000 a unit. Okay, so I made over $1.4 million probably just on one complex that I bought. I bought 34 units. And that's actually a good example. I'm glad you mentioned that, Miguel, because what I had was, I got there second. It was 34 units for it was 34 units for 400,000. And I kept saying, hey, I want to buy it. They're taking too much time because they weren't closing. I close a property quickly, especially if it's a great deal. And so think about that. These guys were buying it for 400,000, but they didn't have the money. They were trying to scramble and get the money, and they weren't doing a good job of it, is what was going on. And so they asked for more time, and they extended. And they were supposed to close on the 15th. I said, did they close? They said, no, they didn't close. And I go, well, that's great. I'll buy it. And they go, but we gave them another month. I'm like, oh, no, don't give them any more time. Well, they gave them another month. So I hounded them. And then when the 15th of the following month came up, They called me before. They said, hey, these guys still haven't put it together. They go, are you sure you'll close? I said, yeah, I'm absolutely sure. And I go, well, what's the deal on it? They go, well, we agreed to knock it down from 400,000 to 340, but they agreed to put $60,000 back into it, which is crazy to me, but that's what they actually went for. It was a bank. They were happy to sell it for less, knowing that he was going to put another 60,000 in it. So while I was waiting and persisting and hounding the sellers to sell it to me, not them, these guys, not only did they get their deal extended, they got that price reduced $60,000 with the understanding that they would put another 60 in it immediately after they bought it. And they had that secured through what we call, oh gosh, I can't even think of the term now, but letters of credit. So anyways, what happened was they said, are you sure? I said, I'll take it, let's write it up. We wrote it up. They booted those guys the next day. I took it, I bought it for $340,000, I closed it, so I paid $10,000 a unit, and I don't know, it was less than 10 years later, I sold it for, just do the math there, 34 times 50, right? That's 55, I think, actually. So that sounds like $1.7 million, roughly. So made well over $1.2 million on that deal, and I bought other property that made many more millions. Okay, but that was one deal. While that was going on, I was still making all kinds of individual deals, making 10 grand on a lot, or I made 50,000, or you see when I made $60,000 on a lot that's right down the street from me. Again, it's persistence. It's taking the time to do it. And so, Miguel, that doesn't sound bad. You can email me, Tom at FlipAnythingUSA.com. You know my email. And give me some details. We want to see how much money it's bringing in, how vacant it is, and then you got to look at the surrounding area. And those are the kind of things. And the other opportunity that you'll find with apartment buildings is that you can turn them into condos. Okay, they usually all have their own electrical. They don't always have their own water. But what you can do is you can put a condo regime on there, and you can sell each person their individual unit. That's possible, and people will pay a lot per unit, much more than you would be able to sell the entire apartment building for. Okay, well, hey, don't give away too much deal, Miguel. There's people watching. I would keep that to yourself. I wouldn't share too much. That's the one thing you'll see. I only share stuff with you guys after the deal's closed. I'll talk about things that are going on, like I'm kind of talking circles around the one that I'm working on right now, but I'm not going to give any specifics. Believe me, people come in and take a deal away from you if you're not careful, and so you got to be careful what you talk about. But yeah, I'm serious. You're laughing, but I'm serious. Believe me, my ears perk up when I hear about a real estate deal. Anyways, and I'll tell you real quick story. I've told this one before. This guy was sitting in a cafe. This is in California, not too far. It's still within Los Angeles. Anyways, he overhears these two farmers talking in a kind of an alfalfa area. And they're talking about another farmer that died. And they're talking about that, oh yeah, and these two farmers had property, but they knew this guy. And this guy's dead now. And they're talking about him, and this guy overhears them talking, and he hears that they're going to have the sale Sunday, and that they're looking for the highest offer. Well, he gets to talking to the guys. They told him where it was. Well, he goes out there. He's the only one that showed up. It was a Century 21 realtor. Didn't know squat about real estate, to be honest. And she's out there, and this guy gets there, and the relatives of this guy are from Oklahoma, where stuff's worth like $100 an acre, where they came from. So he goes, hey, 160 acres, I'll give you 160,000. That came with a house too. And they go, well, nobody else is here, we'll take it. He bought that deal, okay? He got that deal. And he was so nervous because he had to wait about 2 months for the probate stuff to settle before it went into his name. The reason he was so nervous is he already had half of it sold for $3 million, and he had the other half sold for $2 million. And that's what happened. As soon as he closed it, he sold that property for a little over $5 million. I think it was 5.2 or $5.5 million. That's the kind of thing that can happen. Now, I've never had that big a deal happen, but I've had some home runs. I've made over $2 million on a property before, and hundreds of thousands on others very quickly, and you can too. But it doesn't matter. It was all the little ones that I made my first million on. Was 10,000, 10,000, 15,000. That's how I did it. That's how you can do it. And you just have to get started, okay? And stay away from the naysayers. And that's what you'll see. In my book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate, links are below. You can get it for $10. you'll see I use only examples from real properties, real deals that I've done, okay? So it's not smoke, okay? It's the real deal. Okay, so who do we got here? And then I'm gonna have to go. Would you suggest someone buy 100% Section 8, 6-unit building to purchase? Isn't very high. They consistently get higher market rent because it's all Section 8. Well, you know, I don't particularly love Section 8 tenants, to be honest, and I've had some, but the fact is, I know there's a time here in Los Angeles that you could buy a trailer and your tenant, I don't know, basically you could buy a trailer and rent it for damn near $2,000 and you wouldn't even have $100,000 in the whole deal. That's buying the trailer in a trailer park and the whole deal. But back to your question, you know what? The only thing I'm not so up right now, Marquis, on rent control. There's been a lot of talk about rent control here lately. So I don't know what the deal is, if it's in a rent control area or if you have to deal with any of that crap. But no, the good thing about Section 8 is that the rent comes in because somebody else pays it, not the tenant. The bad thing about it is the tenants are not always the most desirable. And I'm not knocking, I've had some good Section 8 tenants, but I've had some real creeps too. And you know, and it's kind of weird. So anyways, what I would say is, you know, it doesn't matter. It all boils down to money, right? Well, just the truth. It all boils down to, hey, I didn't want to spend much more than 30 minutes on this, and I've already spent 22. I got somewhere to go tonight. But please subscribe, please like, and please get the book. Get the book. You can get the links down here, $10. And here's the good thing. If you get my book, and I can show you in here, within the chapters here, you'll find, if you get the digital book, you'll see there's links, and the links are actually spelled out in here too. Anyways, where you can click on a link. If you get the digital book, click on the link, and it takes you to a related video to what I'm talking about, whether it's leapfrogging or buying, you know, with an assignment or making a contract, or there's all kinds of links within that will take you to a video just like we're having right now.